Welcome back to Chuck's Laboratory, and we are resuming our giving Stock Craft some love. We'll be looking at 2 planes from the spaceplane hangar, but before we have a look at those, I want to circle back on the first video as I kind of skipped a step there where I was going to review the text that goes along with both the craft. When I went to review the Dynawing text in the actual game, it was so much text didn't display on the little section where the text appears up here. And I kind of forgot to go back and see if I could find it somewhere else, but I did find it on the wiki. So we're going to circle back and talk about the craft descriptions that came along with the Dynawing and the space station we launched, the Sally Hut 1. Alright, we have the text here from the KSP wiki for Sally Hut 1. And it is Sally Hut 1, the first permanent space station. It's pretty Spartan text, but it was important to read it because it is the first permanent space station. Let's go grab the one from the Dynawing. That one is a little more interesting. Alright, so the craft description for the Dynawing goes: the Dynawing is a partially reusable shuttle based around the Dynawing orbiter with 2 KS-25 engines and an external tank to feed them, boosted by 2 kickbacks. Hailed as the next generation of cheap access to space with a payload of up to 16 tons, reference payload included, is somewhat tricky to fly, as expensive as conventional rockets, and can help you if something explodes on ascent. But it looks great, very futuristic. Flight crews are of course queuing up. The main engines fire roughly through the center of mass. Fly an inverted ascent with the shuttle on the downside of the stack and lead the prograde vector a bit. It's designed to use up all the external tank propellant on the first burn, horizontal by 45 kilometers, and keep burning to end up in a 75 by 0 kilometer orbit or so. Then stage away the tank, press 6 to disable the main engines, stage again to ignite the OMS engines, and use them to circularize and later deorbit. Fly a high angle of attack re-entry with RCS control. Well, that's pretty accurate, as it was pretty tricky to fly, but it did manage to get our payload up into space and did manage to dock it up to the Sally Hut 1. Not sure if I like the description there of the high angle of attack re-entry, as that was the one that was very easy to flip, so that might not work if you run it in dry like we did. I think it would work a lot better if we had a little bit of the RCS propellant left over in that forward RCS tank. Well, let's roll out the first craft we're going to be looking at today. It is the Aeris 4A SSTO. And doing a tour around the back there, you see we have 2 of the Whiplash turbo ramjet engines and 1 of the toroidal aerospike for vacuum operations. It does have some RCS, and it also has a docking port. Kind of cool. Included along with this is a battery, inline battery along with the fuselage and an inline stabilizer. So it's got all kinds of wheel authority. We're going to leave it completely stock here, but there are variations that you can do in this. In fact, there's the variations that are mentioned on the wiki itself. We're going to actually just take a quick look at one of the variations that you can do here. We're not going to fly it quite like this. This is a variation of the Aeris 4A called Aeris 4A 2-Up, and it's removed the inline stabilizer and it has added, obviously, a Mark 1 inline cockpit. I've tweaked the center of lift a little bit, and now we have a 2-passenger with a docking port, and it's still capable of very cautiously, but it can be done, reaching LKO. We're not going to fly this version, as I kind of promised that we would fly everything pretty much stock. But it was fun to modify this a little bit, and I have docked this up to the Sally Hut 1 space station in the past. So it's actually kind of a cool little plane to fly as a 2-passenger, but we're going to go back to the stock. And there we have our Aeris 4A spaceplane, the SSTO, stock SSTO, and craft description. The Aeris 4A is a spaceplane capable of reaching orbit if flown correctly. Features state: the Aeris 4A is equipped with 2 turbojet engines for atmospheric flight. The intake air is provided by 2 shock cone intakes For orbital flight, 1 T1 toroidal aerospace dart engine liquid fuel is provided. The rocket engine will first feed from the tanks mounted to the jet engines. 4 RV-105 RCS thruster blocks and 4 linear thruster ports are added for orbital control, allowing both rotational and translational movement. With an inline clampetron docking port facing upwards, it's possible to dock with other craft. And we're going to do exactly that. We're going to rendezvous with Sally Hut, which we launched in the last video. The action groups here, 4 is the docking port toggle, 5 toggles the jet engines, and 6 toggles the rocket engines. Okay, excellent. And I mentioned that the fuel is flowing from the aerospikes out to the central core. Let's actually look at the fuel delivery overlay here. Because it does have not only just the connection point delivering fuel up to the top one, but it also has these fuel lines as well. I'm not sure if that means that it's going to be flowing extra fuel from here to here with this connection point as well as with the fuel lines. But I think that's what that means. Alright, some of the other features here. Well, let's crack open the docking port real quick. There we go. Some of the other features here, we have an inline reaction wheel, which is probably a lot more control than we need, but we're going to leave it in place for now. We have an RCS tank, a battery, antenna. The only thing that's really missing here is some solar panels, because we do want to do a little bit of orbital operations. We don't want to run out of electricity. We're going to make a small adjustment here. Nope, not the XL, basic. There we go. Just going to put a couple on the back here. Okay, there we are. Sally Hut 1 should be pretty close to flying overhead here. Let's just set it up as a target. Sounds like a pretty rainy day for a flight. But, shouldn't affect these engines. Oh, better close that docking port. What was that docking port? 4? There we go. 5 for the liquid fuel, 6 for the rocket engine. Oh, that one doesn't do it. I thought it was 6. 6 is supposed to toggle the rocket engine. Doesn't look like it does it though. Let's have a quick look. 6 does not toggle the rocket engine. Oh, despite the instructions. Let's go ahead and turn that on anyways. There we go. 5 liquid engines. Now these turbo ramjet engines are incredibly powerful at speed and in the thinner atmosphere. However, the lower altitude and lower speeds, they are incredibly thirsty. So we're going to really monitor our throttle until we're at a good place to begin our final ascent. We should need somewhere around an 83-degree heading. Let's get that adjustment made now. That'll work. We want to have a slow climb to around 8 kilometers when we'll start to go into a full power mode and start doing a final climb. As the engines start to build up more thrust, we can actually start pulling the throttle back a little bit and save a little more fuel. See there, we're still accelerating even though I'm dropping the throttle. That's the nature of these ramjets. Heading's coasting a little bit there, let's bring it back. And we are about to crack Mach 1 here. Mach 1. Sonic boom. Okay, 7 kilometers. Let's back that throttle off a little bit more. You can see we're backing the throttle off and still accelerating. Okay, let's go. And watch the G's that Jeb feels here as it starts to pick up speed. It's really pulling him into his seat. He's loving it though. Start converting some of that speed into altitude here at around 16K. There's our 1300 meters per second. 15K. Start pulling it back. There we go. We don't want to scrub up too much speed, but we do need to start heading up. Still have around 5 kilometers left on those liquid engines. Let's see how things are looking here. 31 kilometer apoapsis. We would like a little more altitude than that. Okay, we only got 38 kilometer apoapsis, but let's go ahead and fire that aerospike engine, finish up the orbit. Okay, we have our apoapsis just out of the atmosphere, just over 75 kilometers. Let's have a look at that. Alignment there, 1.3 degrees. That's not too bad. Okay, we'll keep our altitude fairly low, and we'll use that to catch up to Sally Hunt here. All right, so we should be able to get it down to 0.1 degrees. That's pretty amazing. 330 meters per second burn. Not too bad. Hope you have good headphones. This toroidal aerospike makes quite a noise when it fires up here. Okay, there we have confirmed. One thing for sure, Aeris 4A can reach orbit. And looks like around 822 meters per second of delta V left of that, which is not too bad. Okay, looks like in around 3 orbits, we'll be doing a 27 meter per second burn to get us within around 100 meters of Sally Hat 1. Nice low thrust burn. Let's see how things look here. Use RCS to bring things in a little closer. All right, 3 meters. Can't complain about that. 3 meters in around 10 minutes. Looks like we'll be docking in a bit of an eclipse, but it shouldn't be a problem. Although it is a little dark. We'll do the aerospikes again just to slow down as we get close, then we'll drive in with the RCS. Kind of a drag about the eclipse. A little bit harder to dock in the dark. Get that speed back up a little bit. Look for that nice 10 meters per second. Now it's time to crack open that docking port. Got those liquid engines turned off. Control from here. And let's aim to our target. Try to get back on course here a little bit. 614 millimeters in 1.5 minutes. Let's see how it looks. We have asked Bob here to adjust things so that the docking port is pointed at us. A little bit easier, I think, if we do that. Actually, let's dock to this one here. I think we're okay. We're moving in quick. Let's slow her down. We don't want to interfere with those solar panels, so let's come in this way here. Come on, Jeb, you can do it. Ooh, I did not anticipate that. Okay, let's rotate again. Pull back and rotate. Kinda did not anticipate hitting the antenna here. Of course, the antenna is only on one side. Okay, let's rotate a bit. Unfortunately, the docking port is not in the middle of the craft, so it's going to take a little bit of adjusting here. I think we got it. All right, there we are. We've docked the Aeris 4A to the Sally Hat 1, and we've delivered a fuel module to Sally Hat 1 with a Dynawing. So that's 3 craft docked together here. Let's check and see how Bob's doing. You can see the other docking port there. That's pretty cool. All right, where is Bob? Not here. I don't think we can get to where Bob is, actually. I think Bob might be in the the command module up here. There you are, dude. How you doing? Hey, Bob. How's Kerbin look from up here? You've been up here for a few days. What do you got here? Got some food, cool, spare parts, more science, space. Yeah, don't open that one up. I thought space was out the back door. Unfortunately, because of the way that the Sally Hat 1 is constructed, we can't have direct free IVA access to the main crew area, but that's okay. Bob, let's go get you back to the main crew area. You don't need to be sitting up here by yourself. Alright, here we are. Look at that. We are on board the Sally Hat 1 crew area, and because we have free IVA installed, we can go back down into the plane. One of these doors goes out there. Must be this one. And there we are. We are back aboard the Aeris 4A. Well, we're not going to bring Bob back because we only have one seat. However, well, Bob, enjoy things up here. We got to go. Interesting thing to note here with free IVA is we're right now in the reaction wheel. This part here that's kind of like this little short hallway, that's the reaction wheel. Free IVA lets you traverse some parts, so we did leave that reaction wheel in place, even though we don't need it. Let's see how much fuel we can get aboard this Aeris 4A here. Deal all that fuel here we brought up with a Dynawing. Looks like we're going to take most of the fuel we brought up here with a Dynawing, actually. $58 units. Still got lots of monoprop left, so we're not going to take anything else. All right, Bob. Sorry, we're going to split, but we have another stock craft we're going to send up here for you in the next video. That'll take us away. Let's close that docking port. So we have 2,061 meters per second at delta V. What can we do with that? Now, one thing I know about this particular craft, not about the craft specifically, but about this cockpit, is that it is extremely fragile. It does not like being hot at all. It will blow up if you light a match under it. So we're not going to even attempt to do any high-speed reentry. But we kind of do want to do a flyby of the moon. Okay, because of the inclination, we didn't have a whole lot of choices of flybys here without burning up a lot of fuel. So let's try this one here, see how it goes. Burn in roughly 1 day. Okay, that gives us a fairly crude free return trajectory, but it's a free return trajectory. Should we decide to keep it at its current position, we would slam happily into Kerbin. We're not going to do that. We'll have to make a couple of course corrections along the way. There we are. We're in the Mun sphere of influence, and Jeb is loving it. Nice view out the port window there. Get out your binoculars. What do you see? I see holes. Be leaving Mun's sphere of influence here in just a few seconds, and we'll do a quick course correction burn. Well, that's way up there. 73. So that's 116 meters per second, and then to slow ourselves down here at the periapsis. Another 894. So 894 plus 111, we are barely within margins. Gonna float a long ways away from Kerbin here. Most important thing to watch here is the periapsis, much more than the burn indicator. So we're at 29. Let's bring that up a little more. We want that just above 70. There we go. 894, 853 left. Well, that's gonna have to do it. Well, we weren't quite at Apple there. That's probably why they didn't work as well. And basically burn everything we got. That's it. Okay, so what's that orbit looking like? Got a periapsis 74 apoapsis up to 348. Okay, well let's scoot around to the apoapsis. We're gonna need all the advantage we can get here, as we'll be doing our re-entry burn with RCS. At least we hope we will. We need to bring that down to, I'd say, at least 40. So what do we have left here? 19 units. Total of 21 units. We still got a little bit of RCS left, so let's do a quick save here, just in case things get fiery. We have to kind of run at this again here. And we're good. The KSC and Island Airfield off there to the north, but I don't think we're going to be able to get there from here. We'll be flying right past them. Okay, let's keep that nose up as much as we can. I know that this this Mark 1 cockpit is very fragile. Start feeling those G-forces pretty quick. Oh yeah. In fact, there's enough G-forces here that he's actually able to walk. That's cool. Just walking around in the plane here as we begin our re-entry. Okay, you see that Mark 1's cockpit starting to heat up already. We're slowing down at a decent pace here and not getting too hot. This is very promising. Gotta say, I've seen that Mark 1 cockpit explode a lot of times. Just about flying horizontally now. Almost going to gain some altitude. Maybe we won't actually gain some altitude, but we're just about horizontal. Nope, we're coming back down now. There we go. This is actually a pretty ideal re-entry for this, I think. Actually, Kimberwick Green is out here. Of course, this is not a stock landing area. Let's see how close we get. 537 kilometers and closing. Let's see if we can start banking a little bit over towards that Kimberwick Green. And we are through the atmosphere. Most importantly, we are through the hot stuff. We have made it through re-entry. That is amazing. Alright, let's light those engines up, put a little bit of throttle in. Things are barely idling, and look at the speed. We were actually accelerating a little bit. Well, we made it through the storm cloud, but I don't think we're going to have enough fuel to make it to Kimberwood Green. Still have 130 kilometers to go, and we are basically on fumes. Wow, just ocean as far as the eye can see, except the one little bit of land that we are not going to make it to. And that's it for the fuel. Let's prepare for a water landing. Quite an island. Oh, that's just the shadows from the clouds. Nope, I don't see any hidden little tiny micro islands underneath these clouds. I don't think we're gonna make it. Looks like it's gonna be a water landing. I think Jeb can pull it off. Bring up the gear, make it a bit of an easier landing, I think. Try and hit that stall speed and just drop nicely into the ocean here. That'll work. Well, at least we brought it back intact. Managed to make it up to Sally Hot 1, refuel, did a flyby of the moon, slowed ourselves down without damaging the craft, but we did manage to ditch it in the ocean safely. Too bad we didn't quite make it to Kimberwood Green, still 78 kilometers away. Alright, let's get the next craft out here. That was the Aeris 3A. That's a little more fun to fly than this thing. Alright, there we have the Aeris 3A. Aeris 3A is a small and nimble one-seater plane mostly used as a training craft for fixed-wing flight and to annoy ground staff by buzzing the Space Center facilities. And this thing, yeah, it's crazy maneuverable. It's got short takeoff and landing ability. It's quite amazing. We'll demonstrate that once we roll it out, because we're not actually going to be launching from a runway. We're going to be taking off from a launch pad at Boomerang launch site. So it is a bit of an overcast morning. We're going to be flying up the side of this mountain here, which you can't really see, and checking out the Deep Space Network antenna that's at the top there, and we'll do a bit of slaloming around some of the mountain peaks just to demonstrate how wildly crazy this aircraft really is. First, we're going to roll it off the launch pad. Carefully. Okay, let's see how quickly it can get off the ground. It won't take long. Put that engine up to full thrust. And there we were. Basically, a couple of plane lengths, and we were up in the air already. It's got incredible roll and pitch ability. Even though it's only powered by a Weasley, it's also capable of supersonic flight because it is just so small. The way the elevons are controlled, 2 of the elevons are for pitch and 2 are for roll. The outside ones are for roll, the inside ones handle pitch, as well, of course, the canard on the front. Now watch that mountain, and there we have it. There's the Deep Space Network antenna. Let's go have some fun. That was nice. Let's budge that launch tower, even though there's nobody out there. We don't really have a place to land. But I think we can come down just about anywhere. And we don't need air brakes because we have thrust reversers here. Just about bring you to a stop, really. We just got it there. Alright, there we have it. Well, let's bring this home and do a review of the 2 craft we flew today. Okay, well, let's talk about what we flew today. The Aeris 4A space plane, we're giving that 4 jebs. This is a docking-capable space plane that's relatively easy to fly into LKO. The on-orbit maneuvering was easy and sufficient monoprop on board with the inline fuel tank helped. Very tricky re-entry profile, however, and a high probability of rapid unplanned disassembly from that heat-sensitive Mark 1 cockpit prevent a 5 jeb score, but otherwise fun to fly and can make interplanetary with orbital refueling. Design, it scores 3 bills, mostly because of the Mark 1 cockpit's heat intolerance, and that isn't Bill's fault, but somebody has to take the fall. Also, being only a single seater doesn't help. This is easily upgraded by adding a Mark 1 inline cockpit, which would add to the utility and get another bill. Also, the action groups at work are helpful, but they didn't match the wiki and could still have used some improvements. It needs a solar panel for any extended time in space, but other than that, a good design that does exactly what it says it will, and as long as you don't need to use aero to slow down, has decent delta V when fully fueled. For science, we're scoring 3 bobs. This is only a single-seater, so I can't take any scientist along, and there's no default science parts. There's no battery recharging to send reports back. However, the ability to attach a few science parts and carry them into orbit, refuel, and then take them almost anywhere could make a good science platform. For aesthetic, we're scoring 4 valves. This is a great looking SSTO, and the slightly canted delta wing parts give it a great stance on the runway. The canards on the front to the elephants at the rear, which have a nice taper towards the 2 air-breathing engines, give a smooth, sweeping appearance that looks like it wants to go fast. And it does. In general, this is a docking-capable SSTO, good for LKO but risky at higher re-entry speeds. Few changes can make it a useful single-passenger taxi or just a cruiser for touring the solar system. Next up is the Aeris 3A trainer. We're going to score that 5, no, let's make that 6 jebs. We're going to add an extra super bonus glowing jeb because this thing is a riot to fly. It's highly maneuverable, supersonic, and its STOL capability give it a lot of fun just touring around. Ideal for sightseeing or, as the wiki says, buzzing the tower. Because it is so light, it is forgiving on landings, and even at speed it keeps its maneuverability and doesn't even rip the wings off, and I really tried. For design, we're giving it 4 bills. This is only 9 parts, including the lander, which we never even used, and the twin vertical stabilizers help the handling tremendously. It's nice to see a ladder, and the action group with a thrust reverser lets you really drop the anchor quickly, but action keys for thrust on and off the ladder would have been really nice. For science, we're only going to score 2 bobs. It's not really a science craft, but adding a second inline cockpit would give some science options. For aesthetic, we're scoring 4 valves. It's great looking on the runway and with the angled vertical stabilizers. Keeps the air intake not only looking great, but that engine pre-cooler keeps the lines very sleek and the matching elevons look great from above. In summary, only 9 parts and a great platform for making variations, just a trainer, a stock, but adding a second inline cockpit would add a lot of function to this craft. Tremendous range also adds to this craft's awesome flyability and fun, great for cloud soaring and sightseeing. Thanks for joining while we flew around the Aeris 3A trainer and the Aeris 4A SSTO. Join us next time when we take the Learstar A1 for a jaunt around the neighborhood. Have an awesome day.